Welcome to our top 5 subcompact luxury SUV picks.
All right, so if you're new here, we do these regularly. My name's Zach.
I'm Andrea.
And this is the Motormouth YouTube channel. And if you like this, it would be great if you could smash the thumbs up and also subscribe.
And if you'd like to get a sneak peek of what's happening on the channel, follow me at Motormouth_Andrea on Instagram.
Before we get to the top 5, just a little tease. There are going to be some honorable mentions at the end. So let's get into it. Now at number 5, we picked the BMW X1, and it would go higher in the list, but it's in the very, very ends of its run. There's going to be a new model coming probably next year, so it's one of the most dated in this class.
Although I think it offers quite a bit of space for this subcompact category, I find that the run flat tires get a little bit loud. It is agile, it handles well, but it's missing some key features like Android Auto and blind spot monitoring.
So this is based on a shared platform with Mini. BMW owns Mini. They made the Countryman out of that platform, and they made the X1 out of the same platform. The BMW has more standard power, and they have a different kind of way they go around their interiors especially, and I really like the fact that they have their BMW iDrive system, which is very simple to use, and the dash layout is very open feeling because it is based on a front-wheel drive platform. So space is good, and the design I think is good.
Yeah, overall it's a good product. I see why people really like it. It's priced fairly well too. Let's get into the stats. The X1 has a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine with an 8-speed automatic transmission, 228 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. In the US, both front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive options are available. In Canada, standard all-wheel drive.
The front-wheel drive model in the US is just over $35,000. The base all-wheel drive in Canada is $42,500 and $37,500 in the United States.
This video is brought to you by Car Cost Canada. Get the dealer's cost, list of rebates, plus discounted interest rates. Use the promo code Motormouth to become an expert member and get extra searches. The link is in the description below.
In fourth spot, it goes to the Volvo XC40. I think that that's another winner, especially for comfort, refined drive, and then of course that infotainment system. Once you get used to it, it's pretty good.
Well, the thing about the CX40 is it is a classic design on interior functionality. They went through every nook and cranny, an inch of the inside of that vehicle, and made it useful. They have huge door pockets. They even have a little trash can in the middle of the center console. The back cargo area is very roomy. You can even take that cargo divider and slide it under the floor. It's very well thought out.
The XC40 really offers a beautiful interior. The fit and finish is lovely in it. You might find, if you are a petite woman, that sitting up and over the dash in the Volvo XC40 is a real plus.
But that's also a negative. If you're tall, you sit up way too high. You can't put the seat low enough. And I think it is appealing more to female buyers. For tall men, they feel like they're towering over the top of the steering wheel. It's interesting they don't allow for both. But if you are comfortable behind the wheel, you're going to get a really smooth, traditional luxury ride, a couple of engine choices, and a really relaxed, comfortable interior. Let's get into the specs.
The XC40 has a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with an 8-speed automatic transmission. The T4 powertrain has 187 horsepower and 221 pound-feet of torque. The T5 gets 248 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque, standard all-wheel drive. There is also a pure electric model, the XC40 Recharge, with 402 horsepower and 486 pound-feet of torque and up to 359 kilometers, 223 miles of EV range.
Here's the pricing. The base model in Canada starts at just under $40,000 and just over $35,000 in the United States. The top gasoline model is just under $50,000 in Canada and just under $43,000 in the US. The XC40 Recharge, the electric version, is just under $60,000 in Canada and just over $55,000 in the US.
So have you got any guesses yet what number 1 might be?
Any guesses what the honorable mentions will be? So stick around, that's coming up after number 1. What's number 3? We're halfway through.
Well, one of my favorites is the Cadillac XT4 for the way that it handles. It drives beautifully.
And I like the way it looks. You know, a lot of people overlook this product. And the fact that there is actually a domestic subcompact utility is quite unique because Lincoln doesn't have one.
Nope.
Cadillac does.
And I think that the interior is quite nice. When we did the review on it, I really wanted to see something like what's going to be coming up in the Cadillac Lyric with that OLED screen, and I think we'll get there at some point with the XT4. But overall, it was a vehicle that we had for a week that I was really drawn to. I kept going out and driving this particular one.
So one of the things they did in the XT4 is they put the priority on passenger space.
Yeah.
So good space for the front passengers, really good space for rear passengers. However, it comes at the sacrifice of the cargo area. Isn't that big?
No.
So depending on the stage of life and what you're doing with a family or maybe no kids around, it's going to appeal to different people based on the space they need.
And one of the reasons why it wasn't higher up on our list is that it gets a little bit expensive. Now that base model is an okay price, but if you want some extra features, you've got to add packages or a la carte items, and you're almost up to where the XT5 starts at. So it's definitely something to consider there, but overall a great model. Of all of our top 5 picks, the Cadillac XT4 actually gets the best J.D. Power reliability score.
Interestingly, General Motors has done very well over the last couple of years with quite a few of their divisions. Cadillac is scoring above average, Chevrolet and Buick as well. So let's get into the specs and see what it costs.
The XT4 has a 2-liter turbo 4 with a 9-speed automatic transmission, 237 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. Front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive is available on all trims.
Here's the pricing. The base front-wheel drive luxury trim is just over $36,000 in Canada and just under $36,000 in the United States. The first all-wheel drive is just under $40,000 in Canada and just over $38,000 in the US. The top sport model is just under $44,000 in Canada and just over $42,000 in the US. However, you do have to add packages to these prices.
Our number 2 pick goes to the Mercedes-Benz GLA with plenty of engine and power choices.
Yeah, the other thing is this is a family of vehicles that they make on the A-Class platform. So they have the A-Class sedan, they have the utilities. So if you like the idea of the GLA but want a bit more room, you can actually get it in the GLB, which runs on the same running gear, same interior, just a slightly bigger top hat, they call it, with more seat options.
Mercedes-Benz makes one of the best interiors, and this one doesn't disappoint. I actually like this better than the GLC because it has the integrated digital driver display and touchscreen. Now the base model comes with a smaller option. It's 7 inches, but you can get the larger 10.25 inch if you add a package.
And the other thing is this thing is fun to drive. Even the base model with 228 horsepower, it zooms around, it handles beautifully. They did a fantastic job on the drivability, and then you marry that with the beautiful MBUX displays that Andrea just touched on. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I think they've done a really great job. And then you've got all that ambient lighting, whether it's during the day you can see it or at night. It's actually very beautiful.
So the base model is fun. I don't think you need to shop any higher than that. However, if you have money burning a hole in your pocket, they have more powerful options as well. So let's get into it.
The base engine is a 2-liter turbocharged 4 with an 8-speed automatic transmission, 221 horsepower and 251 pound-feet of torque. The AMG GLA 35 with 302 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque, and the AMG GLA 45 with 382 horsepower and 354 pound-feet of torque.
In Canada, all GLAs are all-wheel drive. In the US, they do have a base front-wheel drive model, and it's starts at $46,500. The top AMG 45 model is just under $64,000 in Canada and $55,500 in the United States.
And our number one pick goes to the Audi Q3. It is a great all-rounder.
It offers the best value in this luxury category. I know value and luxury don't often go hand in hand. And one of the big reasons is that this engine, the more powerful engine, runs on regular gasoline. So there's a plus there, plus you get a nice looking car.
Yeah, and the interior, you know, when we look at the Q5, for example, it has that touchscreen that sits on top of the dash. I really like how Audi with the Q3 integrated the touchscreen. It comes standard with an 8.8-inch touchscreen, but of course you can upgrade if you get a different trim. But that comfort package, it just comes with so many standard features, including a heated steering wheel, a power liftgate, and a panoramic sunroof.
And it comes standard with a digital instrument cluster on all trims. So it does come with a lot of features. It has a lot of available features. When we first test drove it, it didn't come with memory seats.
Yes.
But that has been added after the fact. And not only that, they have actually introduced a second engine option. The first engine option was 228 horsepower, basically the old Volkswagen GTI engine, which is running on regular gasoline. That's why it runs on regular gas. But then they offered a less expensive, less powerful engine from the Tiguan, right?
That's right. One thing I do find about the Q3 that I'm not crazy about is that the steering is very light. So try it, see if you like that kind of steering. I'm sure it will appeal to more people than me who enjoys heavier steering.
But that's a trend through the Audi line. If you get into a Q7 or any of their other vehicles, their steering is very light. And it's done to appeal to the masses and make it easy for people to park. This is a very competent small SUV. It's comfortable. It's fun to drive. It doesn't cost as much as some of the others. Runs on regular gas. That's why it's our winner.
Yeah. Let's get into the specs. The base engine is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with an 8-speed automatic transmission, 184 horsepower, and 221 pound-feet of torque. The second option is the same engine but more power, 228 horsepower, and 251 pound-feet of torque.
The base model in Canada is just over $38,500 and $36,500 in the United States. The top trim in Canada is $47,500 and just over $42,000 in the United States.
So there's our top 5. Let us know if you agree with us or what your selection is. Type below.
When you go through the subcompact utilities in the luxury space, there aren't that many that we haven't chosen. And some people confuse other models as subcompact. You have to remember that these are the smallest ones. Now, there's a couple that didn't make the list, and for certain reasons, honorable mentions. Let's get into that.
One that I really like is the Lexus UX Hybrid. I know it's not very big, but it comes with a lot of standard features for around $40,000 Canadian. It's comfortable, it gets amazing fuel economy, so it's a real winner in my books.
So think of the Prius, basically, driveline system in an all-wheel drive setup. The downside of this vehicle is it's getting old. The interior infotainment system is old. The back seat is small, and the cargo area is even smaller. So it's really targeted, I think, Andrea, perfectly for empty nesters. Kids are grown. They need a car to run around in. Had to be perfect.
Although I have to say, a follower on Instagram, she went and bought one. She has 2 small kids and she managed to fit 2 car seats back there, which I think is pretty amazing. And she's thrilled that she's getting excellent fuel economy. Our next pick goes to the Mini Countryman. Boy, do I ever love the look of it. I think if I bought one, I would get one in that green color.
So it didn't make the list because it is based on the same platform as we mentioned at the very beginning as the X1. However, it's not really luxury. It's fun. It is a luxury price. There's no question. They charge a lot for these, but it's focused more on sportiness. It doesn't even have power seats. It doesn't even have a heated steering wheel, right? Or they just added
the heated steering wheel for this year, but it didn't before.
But if you want something that's fun, they have that covered. But the BMW is fun to drive too, but it
Yeah.
has a little bit more luxury.
And what I also love about the Countryman is that they have a plug-in hybrid option available. It doesn't have a ton of range, 29 kilometers and 17 miles, but at least the option is there.
So there you have it, our top 5 subcompact luxury SUVs and a couple of extras just for fun.
And if you like what you see, we'd love for you to subscribe, hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when all of our reviews drop.
And you can follow Andrea, Motormouth_Andrea for Instagram, and we're all done. But we do these regularly, right?
Yeah, so stay tuned for more.
This video is brought to you by Car Cost Canada. Get the dealer's cost, list of rebates, plus discounted interest rates. Use the promo code Motormouth to become an expert member and get extra searches. The link is in the description below.